Welcome to the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network, a weekly broadcast sponsored by CVC Coaching, hosted each week by industry speaker, coach, author, and educator Jerry Eisenhower. Our presentations are produced to assist business owners and managers in turning their business dreams into their business realities. And now, here's your host, Jerry Eisenhower.
And I want to welcome you to another episode of the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network. This is episode number 58. And today we're going to talk about a subject matter that a lot of people are having. Is your office stressing you out? And I got the best person in the world to help you here on this today, who is Brandi Biswell, a member of the CVC Success Group. And that's what she does, is help people make their offices less stressful. So Brandi, you out there with me today, ready to rock and roll?
I'm here. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, well, you've been out in the field working with some offices, so I think you've been encountering stress up close and personal. And so I think it's a good time to have this. So let me ask you this first question. What are the major things that people can do to lower their office chaos?
I would say having systems and procedures in place. So often times when I go into offices, we're just busy putting out fires. And a lot of times it's because we don't have systems and processes in place to deal with those fires, or we just haven't made the time to ever create any systems and processes. So we're just flying by the seat of our pants and then spending all day putting out fires.
It was really interesting. I have one of my clients here this week doing what we call an annual retreat. And as we look back over 2018, Brandi, in fact, we called you while he was here, but his office was his major chaos factor. He entered into the fall season and he wasn't prepared. So can you understand that type of frustration and chaos somebody like that would be going through?
Absolutely, Jerry. As you know, I favor the office side, and I will always tell you that the office is your first impression. They're the first person to answer the phone. They're the ones that are going to book the work. So if we don't have everything lined out and everything calm and in place and where it needs to be on the office, everyone else is going to experience that chaos. It's just going to trickle down throughout the entire company, throughout the technicians, throughout the appointments, etc.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and it kind of goes back, I think you may have already answered this, but from your experiences, what are most offices missing? Let's give it a little more detail on this.
So definitely the systems and the procedures, so the SOPs, so that everybody's answering the phone the exact same way, so that when we're onboarding a new person, that there's actually an onboarding manual, there's an itinerary for the day, we're following a process. We're not just throwing paperwork at them and then saying, okay, go hop in a truck or go answer the phone. And then just procedures in place on, we already talked about like the phone scripting, but then how to deal with different types of client issues that may arise or problems that may arise, customer complaints. And then also, Jerry, along with that, one of the things that I see that a lot of offices are missing is just technology. I was just talking with someone else about this, in the fireplace and chimney industry, we have a lot of people that are aging and things have always been done this way. And so we have a lot of offices still that are using paper, that are still only using the phone to communicate with customers. And in today's world, if you're going to stay relevant and you're going to continue to grow and continue to make the money, you really have to have the technology in place to stay in touch with the customer, to communicate with the customer the way that they want to be communicated with. And more, that is not the telephone.
Okay. So if someone called you up and said, Brandi, I'm ready to throw my hands up in the air, and because this chaos is just driving me crazy, where would you tell them to start to eradicate the chaos? What would be their starting point?
Well, Jerry, for me, I would tell them to hire me because that's what I do. So I would tell them to bring me in and I would actually do an assessment and drill down to exactly where the chaos is. Because oftentimes what we perceive where the chaos is isn't necessarily where it's at. So I would want to see up close and personal and find that chaos and drill down to exactly what's causing it. But if it was somebody that was just asking me, I would say number one, probably make sure that you're recording your phone calls so that you can hear any of the chaos going on and find out, is our office following the processes that they're supposed to? Are they all answering the phone the same way? Are they answering the phone at all? Are they handling the customer calls appropriately? Are they following the SOPs and the scripting that they've put into place?
Okay. So at this point in game, you've got your office pretty well organized. So are you at the point you don't have to make any changes anymore, Brandi, or is it a continuous thing of continuous change in your office? And is that what people have to expect they have to do?
Change is every day. There's absolutely, number one, there's absolutely no office out there that's not going to experience some level of stress. Now we can manage that stress and we can decrease that stress, but it's not like there's this magic wand that we're going to wave and the stress is going to completely go away. That doesn't exist. Now, what we can do when we're managing that stress is continue to put procedures in place. So to answer your question, Jerry, no, every single day I have to make a new procedure or a policy or tweak something. I'm at the point where I'm more tweaking than just creating from scratch. But that change is going to happen every day. And if you don't expect it to, then you're in the wrong place. And I don't think there's a business out there that doesn't incur change every single day. The key is to roll with the change, to be open to the change, to expect the change, and just enjoy the ride of the change, because it's going to happen every day in every business. It's the only way that we continue to grow and innovate.
Yeah, one of the things I see, and I think this is a lot of the chaos, Brandi, is that so many times the office staff cannot answer the questions. So they are continuously having to lean on their manager, their employer, the technicians. So how important is it that you have a system that the CSRs, the customer service representatives in your office, the dispatchers, the clerical staff, how important is them to be trained and understand what the business does where they can answer these questions?
It's critical. So you're not going to hire an office person that's going to come in and have chimney and fireplace background, most likely. There may be that 1% out there where somebody's changing and they go to another fireplace shop or another chimney company. But for the most part, you are not going to hire somebody that has that background and knowledge. And so we have to train them the same way we train our technicians and give them the same knowledge about fireplaces, about the physics of fireplaces, about how they work. So when they get that call and the customer's on the phone and they don't feel comfortable booking yet because we haven't given them that reassurance of why they may be experiencing downdrafting and what the technician's going to do when he comes out and some options we can give them to correct it. We have to show that knowledge on the phone in order to gain the customer's trust and be able to book that appointment.
So how do you do that, Brandi? How do you get them to speak the language of chimneys? What's your secret sauce in this?
So we have them when they very first start on their second day, they are listening to the call recordings. They're going back through call recordings and listening to how calls came in, what questions were asked, how the current office staff handled the calls and handled the questions. And then we are signed up with the CVC Basecamp. So day one, they are already watching the Chimneys 101 and just already learning that basic chimney knowledge and that basic verbiage that they're going to be exposed to on a daily basis. And then we are getting them certified through the Chimney Safety Institute of America so that they have that confidence and that they have that credential as well, so they can let the person know on the phone. It's funny how many times a day we'll get a call and somebody says, well, is your technician available, or can I talk to one of your technicians? And I love nothing more than when my girls in my office say, well, actually, I'm certified. I have the same knowledge that they do. I can help you.
So good. So that's what I mean. So you would agree that having your CSRs technically proficient and able to answer questions is definitely going to be an asset. Would that be correct?
I think it's the way that you're going to set yourself apart in your market and the way that you are going to get ahead of your competition.
Okay, so great. So let me ask you this. If we have a less chaotic office, are we going to book more appointments and are we going to have more profit?
Absolutely. So if the office is chaotic and we're spending all of our time putting out fires and we're stressed, that's going to come across on the phone to every customer that's now calling in. They're going to feel that stress. They're going to hear that stress. of whatever's been going on that morning or that afternoon when we're on the phone taking their call. And that's going to lead them to not book. So absolutely, if we can keep the chaos down, keep the stress down, have the proper systems in place, we are going to be way more successful in the long run and on the back end.
That's great. Have you been able to establish a good ratio of how many trucks in comparison to number of CSRs someone needs in a business today, a service business, Brandi?
So I go off of what I've always been told is the industry standard, and it definitely has proven true for our office, which is typically one office person for every 3 to 4 technicians. And that has just been the ratio that I've been told by various people over the years. I think, Jerry, you as well have told us that. And I know in our office that has proven true, and that has proven to be a very good matrix.
Right. I had always said 1 to 3 was kind of what I'd always felt the correct ratio was in most operations. But one of the things comes in now, it's like, Brandi, you're spending a lot of your time in human resources in the office, which is getting to be bigger and bigger. So just for knowledge, how much of your time at Blues Brothers do you think you spend in human relations and percentage now?
Oh, 90% of it. Yeah,
Right.
easily.
Right. So if you were looking to hire someone into your office to fill these roles, and I know this is a process that you and Cheryl both work with on the hiring and the onboarding now through CVC. So with her doing the DISC assessment and those kind of things. So what's the qualities you look for in finding a new hire for their office? And how do you determine if the applicant has these qualities and skills to be a benefit to you?
Sure. So one of the things that we look for is someone that submits a professional resume. I prefer for an office person that not only does that resume come in, but it comes in with a cover letter, and a very unique cover letter that tells me why they would be a good fit for my position and gives a little introduction about themselves. I love when an office person, has a bachelor's degree in office management, et cetera, but it's certainly not required. In fact, all of my office people that I have actually hired have degrees in other things, but I certainly get a lot of applicants that do have a bachelor's degree in business. And I want to make sure, that their resume is professional, that everything's spelled correctly, that they have that attention to detail. We usually hire through Indeed, and so we send them actually a test through Indeed, and I want to see that they're proficient in that. I wanted them to have a background in like Microsoft Suite and just know how to use the computer very proficiently, because we use a lot of technology to communicate with our customers. And so I want to know that I've got somebody on my hands that can get up to speed very quickly on that. I'm looking for somebody that's going to fit in with the culture here at Blues Brothers. And then CVC offers the DISC assessment. So I want to see that they have those qualities that DISC identifies that would fit in with our culture, and then also just the way that we all work with each other. What else, Jerry? I'm trying to think.
Well, I know you also, part of your process is you believe that all your CSRs need to go in the field and actually do job observation of your technicians, don't you?
Absolutely. So in their first week, that is part of it, where they go out on the job site and actually see. So I hire a lot of young people. For whatever reason, that's just where I get a lot of applicants that are younger. And so a lot of them have never lived in a home that's had a fireplace, and they've never owned a home that's had a fireplace. So here I'm trying to talk to a candidate and tell them about the difference between a prefabricated fireplace and a masonry fireplace and a slammer. And they've never even been up close and personal with these types of fireplaces. So it's very important to me that they go out on day one and actually see, or in week one, and actually see these types of fireplaces. And also that they see the process that we do. So the laying down of the drop cloths right from the door clear to the fireplace, the putting on of the shoe covers, because what's going to happen is they're going to take a call that next week, and the customer is going to be very concerned about the cleanliness of the process, and are we going to get their house dirty? And now they've already seen exactly the steps that we take, and they can articulate that to the customer. And then from there, I like them to go out in the field just on an annual basis, just to keep up on that training.
Sounds great. So, what would be your closing words on this? What would you advise someone? Yeah, calling you, that's a good resource, where they can talk to you. What do you advise someone to do if they're ready to eradicate this office chaos, Brandi?
I think just starting, that's always the hardest part, right? Is just acknowledging that there is a problem or there is a lack of systems. And so we've got to start somewhere. So I think just coming to terms with that and getting the process started. Certainly with CVC Coaching Success Group, we are here to help with that process. We're here to make it easier because oftentimes once you realize there's a problem, it seems so overwhelming. What do I start with first? Where do I start? How am I going to make the time to start? And so that's where I think that we can really come in and say, this is where you need to start. This is what I see as being the top problems. This down here is lower hanging fruit. We're going to work on that, but we're going to work on that down the road. And so that's where I think, just using us as that mentor to help identify that and to help along the way and to coach along the way to say you're doing great, or we need to tweak this or we need to tweak that, is so beneficial. And certainly it's an investment of your time and it's an investment of your money, but it will pay off in the end. And I think you'll see a great return on it.
That's great, Brandi. So let's tell everybody how to get in touch with Brandi if they'd like to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, so I'm Brandi with an I, so it's Brandi at cvcsuccessgroup.com.
There you go. So folks, look her up. If you want to eradicate the chaos in your office, this lady can do it for you. She has proven it in her own business, which has turned into a truly fantastic and phenomenal operation out there with the smoothness of it. She gets people that visit with her, but hey, send her an email and touch base with her because she's there to help you out. And with that, we're going to end another edition of the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network. It's sponsored every week by the CVC Success Group. Look us up. We've got our base camp online educational programming. We encourage you to look at this, take a look at it. We'd love to have you be a subscriber on this. This is how Brandi's taking her people to the next level, and we'd love to have you on that platform with us. So tune us in at the next edition of the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network.
Thanks for joining us here each week at the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network, sponsored by CVC Coaching, providing you the coaching and educational outreach services you need to move to your dream destination in business and in life.